Welcome to the Ottawa Street Farmers Market. This market is located in the Crown Point East neighborhood of Hamilton, Ontario, which just so happens to be my neighborhood. It runs on Saturdays from April to November and features the best in fresh fruit and veg, meats, cheeses, prepared meals, and gourmet dog treats, as well as so much more. It also features local makers, artists, and musicians. That there is Denise and her awesome pup, Abby. They run the show and do a great job of it. Denise is really going to love that I took this secret footage of her. So this was their current sign, and Denise asked me if I could make 2 new ones that would go out on the sidewalk to point people to the market. I stuck mostly to their original design and logo with this mock-up, but I made it a bigger sign with raised lettering to hopefully try to make it stand out. I had no idea how I was going to make this, but she loved it, so I was off to Home Depot to grab some 3/4 ply and get to work. This design came in at 2 feet wide by 3 feet tall. I'm trying to get better at putting my stuff away after I use it. I'm not there yet. All right, I have to cut all of these, 4 of them. I got a lot of cuts done today for 2 separate projects, so I'm really happy with that. Today's a holiday Monday, so I'm gonna go upstairs and play with the laser for a little bit, see what I can do with that. And then I'm gonna rest and take it easy. See you in a bit. I used our X-Tool M1 laser to just score the letters onto the plywood. I would then use these as a guide for cutting out on our scroll saw. I am brand new to using scroll saws, so this was quite the process. It doesn't have dust collection, and the blower is not the best, so this is me trying to jerry-rig our vacuum up to it. It worked pretty good, but it did get in the way a little too much. All right, I'm working on the Ottawa Street sign, and I just broke my first scroll saw blade. That was freaky, but I'm all right. And I was protected. It didn't hit me in the face. But if it did, I would have been fine. Wear your PPE, folks. The process of cutting all of this out took hours, but I was really happy with the end result. And I learned a lot about how to use scroll saws. I had taped 2 pieces of plywood together to make these quicker since I had to make 2 signs. So I just had to separate them and then prepare for the glue up. I ran out of hands here, so I had to put my nose to work. You'll notice that I had to cut these in 2, these larger pieces, and then glue them back together like this. The reason for that is I used our X-Tool M1 laser to draw out the design on the wood so I'd have a path to follow with the scroll saw, but the laser's bed is only about 15 inches wide, and these pieces were closer to 20 inches long. So I just decided to cut them down the middle, and then I'd glue them back together, which is what you're seeing here. I came back when the glue was dry, took off all the tape, and just sanded down the rough spots. And now came the really fun part. I had to sand and file every single one of these pieces by hand. Especially these tiny letters, they were incredibly time consuming. This footage is sped up 3,000%. So yeah, this took a long time. just painted the letters for the sign. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not a painter, but I think they look okay. I like the color. We'll see how it dries. And yeah, they turned out pretty good. I still have this backer board that I'm painting things on. Kind of looks like a piece of art now. Maybe I'll make a frame for that one day and hang it up. So now it's back to the laser, and the cool thing about the X-Tool M1 is it's not just a laser, it also is a cutting tool. So I bought all the different colors that I needed in adhesive vinyl and used the M1 to cut out the vinyl. From then I just had to weed out the letters, which means removing all the excess vinyl that I don't need. And then I applied this transfer tape on top, which is a clear tape that helps you adhere it to the final material, which in this case is the wooden signs. Okay, so I'm about to paint these signs. Gonna paint them teal, and then the red comes off to reveal the wood, which I will put the colored vinyl down on. First, I gotta make a little paint safe area where these things can dry. I'm gonna use this table that I bought to do that. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, this is pretty good for now. I'm gonna leave the sides open until I'm done painting, and then I'll slide it under and I'll wrap the sides. This works for now. On to paint. These are my carnival of blooms, by the way. Very nice. And they're viney. Anyways, I'm stalling 'cause I'm nervous. There's a lot of steps in this that were really nerve-wracking, and this was definitely one of them. I'm not a spray painter or any kind of painter, and I just hoped that the vinyl would stick to the wood well enough so that once I peeled it up, the bare wood would remain. Okay, now to cover this up. Okay, it's very hot out, but I finished it. Tons of blue tape. It's pretty windy today, so I'm hoping this sticks. I'm gonna put another piece there. But for now, this should work. Man, these turned out better than I had hoped. I was really happy with this. So now it was time to peel that vinyl off to expose the raw wood, which I would then put more colored vinyl on top of, as you'll see here in a little bit. So now with the vinyl all peeled off and the raw wood exposed, it was time to add the colored vinyl in its place. There wasn't much about this project that wasn't tedious or time consuming, but there also wasn't a lot of it that I had done before. So this was pretty fun for me. Don't get me wrong, it was incredibly nerve-wracking the whole way, but it was totally worth it. And yeah, I did mess up. It did take its time. So now I'm putting down a layer of orange vinyl, and after this goes a layer of yellow to match their logo. As you can see, there's a bit of a groove there in the middle, like a bump. That gets fixed in a bit. I was being so careful to get this placement right. You can see I'm looking at my phone there, the logo, to try to line this up perfectly. Believe me, there was a lot of this trial and error, lining things up, almost sticking it down, but then peeling it up because it wasn't exactly right. If I kept all that stuff in, this would have been a 2-hour film easily. So this was a trick I learned at a previous job where I worked with vinyl. Sometimes you get bubbles when you put things down. So if you just poke it with an X-Acto, a really small hole, and then you press it down, all the air comes out and it flattens it. Once I got things laid out on the boards the way I wanted, I went around with a pencil and just lightly traced some reference markers so that when I did the glue up, I would know exactly where these go. I did this cutout on the bottom of it. I did this with a jigsaw I bought years ago that I'm not really happy with. It made the rough shape fine, so then I just had to come back and do a lot of sanding just to get the shape proper. And now it's time for some hand sanding. I did the rest of the sanding by hand just because that's my preference. I like doing this stuff. I did the sides and softened all the edges and did the fronts and backs, so it was all ready for glue up. All right, I got the pieces all painted and sanded and ready for the glue up. So I'm just sitting here procrastinating, doing the glue up, because there's no going back from here. So wish me luck. All right, I'm gonna glue Farmers on first. It's the biggest like centerpiece of the whole thing, and that'll help make sure everything else is aligned. So I'm gonna be using my Tape Bond 3 and some Gorilla Glue. I got this gel one. It just makes it easier to dab on there. So I'm gonna do a line around the outside, just dab some wood glue, and then dab some of this. Flip it over. Ta-da. To say one's nervous about doing this is an understatement. Just like cutting out the letters, gluing them down was also the most time-consuming part of the glue up. Each letter would get wood glue and CA glue added to the bottom. Then I would press it down in place using the markings I made earlier. Then I would come back with a damp rag just to make sure I got most of the squeeze out so it wouldn't be left behind on the sign. These are non-plastic straws. Great for sucking up glue. Just squeeze it in, and then they'll actually get right in there. And glue goes in the straw. Great for getting in small places. Boom. Why didn't I think of this earlier? I did add weights to all of this once it's done. I just didn't record it because I forgot, and it's kind of boring just watching me put weights on top of things. But there were weights holding everything down once I got everything on, and I left it that way overnight to dry. Nerve-wracking glue up, it is done. These vinyl letters just got adhered directly to the wood. They weren't cut out of any 3/4 ply or anything. I use some Varathane Diamond Wood Finish, which is a great exterior finish. This is 946 mil, and I used the entire can on these signs. I went around the edges with a foam brush, and then I used a wider foam brush to cover the back of the signs. The front of the signs had some different techniques, which I'll get to here in a moment. Okay, now the tricky part. I'm gonna flip this over, get these guys underneath it, so that I can paint the underside. Okay, let's do this. This side's not painted. We'll do bam, 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 bam. Do this. All right, fun time. All right, I got these fine brushes so I can get in between all these tricky little areas. In case you're wondering, yes, I got a lot of finish in my beard. I really should have tied it back or covered it or something, but just like a lot of aspects of this project, it was a true learning experience for both me and my beard. This is kind of like sanding. Very meditative. There's nothing I can do but be in it. Kind of fun. I should probably sit down when my back is killed. Oh, that's better. Sound off in the comments if I'm using the wrong brush and being an idiot. I might. I probably should have sprayed, but I didn't. I did a test of the spray and I didn't like the way it came out, so I'm going the hand painting route because I'm a glutton for punishment. I kind of like it though. I find it calming. I know what you're thinking, and you're correct. This is taking a long time. I'm happy I did this though, because I really wanted to make sure it was protected from the elements, since every Saturday it's going to be sitting out on the corner, rain or shine. I did a quick sand in between coats with 320 grit sandpaper, and then wiped all that down and put another coat on. This process was repeated 6 times total until the entire can was gone. I did get better and quicker at the application process as the layers went on and on. All that was left now was to add the piano hinge at the top. And then a chain to make sure that the sign doesn't blow open. And that was it. Every Saturday now, I can walk down Ottawa Street and see something I made, which is so cool. And it helps direct people to a really great farmers market with incredible vendors and great people running it. So I really can't thank Denise enough for asking me to make these signs. I'm so happy with how they turned out. I hope y'all liked it. If you have any suggestions, please leave them down below. Like this, do whatever you want, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.